Hey students, welcome back again. Okay, actually we just had class. Today is Sunday, so I decided, hey, to make a video with regards to the ELA part of the essay syllabus. Now, today we did do math, with the slideshow and the pictures of the puppies and cute kittens, but we also did the graphic. Now, what I wanted to tell you guys is about something that is super common, and it occurs in almost every single ELA comprehension-based passage. They always now remember, I told you guys that with comprehension, you guys have to love comprehension, because in comprehension they usually have the answers within that passage. No matter what the passage is, they will have answers. Now there is a little bracket in where they do have the answers, but you need to have some prior knowledge in order to get those answers. What they usually ask in comprehension passages, almost always, they always ask you, identify 1, the simile, 2, identify the metaphor, and 3, personification. So today we're going to talk a little bit about those 3 things. Now, as soon as I ask any of you guys, standards 2, 3, 4, what is a simile? You guys gonna hit me with 2 words, like or as. And that is actually the truth. That is a universal definition where we compare 2 things using the words like or as. Similes are used so we're gonna use it in 2 ways. 1, we're gonna learn the definition so that when we have a comprehension or a poem, we'll be able to answer those questions. And 2, we're gonna learn how we could use those tools in our creative writing, in our essays, whether it be a report. Well, okay, in this case it would be mostly narrative, but we could potentially use it in a report. So how could we use similes, metaphors, or personifications to get more marks, to create a much more interesting, in-depth story? So a simile, like I said, is using the word like or as. A better definition would be something to the extent of a simile is used for comparison using as or like. A good writer can use similes to develop characters, to develop settings and imagery for variety in writing, and also create a lasting impact in the minds of your readers, as well as to create a creative writing piece with a lot of imagery. Something that would help open the imagination. So if, for instance, we saw the student a student saw a puppy or a wild animal, and the wild animal was scary. It scared the person involved in the essay. We could say that particular tiger or lion was as big as a bus. Now, there is no way that a lion or tiger could be as big as a bus in reality. However, using that simile, so we'll say the lion is as big as a bus, the reader now starts to think on a larger scale, like huge. Like, this lion is huge. So instead of just saying that how it was a big lion, right, that would be what we would start with. We'd say the lion was as big as a bus. And we have a ton of similes. Once we compare it using the words like or as, like for instance, Saturn, he eats his KFC like a vacuum cleaner. So we could say something like a vacuum cleaner just like gobble down everything, like if you have a ton of dust in your living room. So we could say Saturn eats his KFC super, super fast, and the reader who's reading that creative writing piece, they would think it's like a vacuum, like and like and like eating all that KFC super fast. So like for instance, as big as a bus, as big as an elephant. Elephants are huge. Then as brave as a lion, as blind as a mole, as blind as a bat. So we have a ton of different similes that we could use in our essay. Now, moving on from similes, we have them in order. Everyone knows simile first, metaphors, and then personification. So essentially, we start with similes, then we move on to metaphors. So a metaphor is a figure of speech that is used to make a comparison between 2 things that aren't alike, but they do have something in common. Unlike a simile, where 2 things are compared directly, using like or as, a metaphor's comparison is more indirect by stating something is something else. So we don't say that how like the boy was eating like a vacuum, or the lion was like or as big as a bus. We're gonna say they are something. A metaphor is very expressive and is not meant to be taken literally. So it's not meant to be taken for face value. So like we could say that how the snow is a white blanket. So if you guys ever see snow, it looks as if there's a blanket covering the actual plane itself. But the truth is, the snow is not actually a blanket. It's not made out of cotton or any cloth or anything like that. So that is an example of a metaphor. And what it does, it brings to mind images of a white blanket. Like you go in PriceSmart, you get a white PriceSmart blanket. So even though snow is not a blanket, it brings to mind what is potentially a blanket. Then her lovely voice was music to his ears. So for instance, the girl, she is singing and it sounds to him, so her voice was music to his ears. The classroom was a zoo. So the classroom is not really a zoo. There is no actual animals. There might be somebody saying meow or woof in the background. And when I turn around, I'll be like, who's going meow in the background? But the truth is, the class is not actually a real zoo that you go to and you see wild animals. And then the last but not least is personification. So you guys should know this, because on YouTube, on this YouTube channel, we did that comprehension with the hunter who got lost in the forest, and he thought Papa Boy was pulling him in, and that had personification. You had to actually identify two quotes from the passage, which is directly linked to personification, right? So personification is the act of giving non-living things human characteristics. Here is a sample, a short paragraph that uses personification to describe a house. So, like for instance, in this example, the author wrote, "Our house is an old friend of ours. Although he creaks and groans with every gust of wind, he never fails to protect us from the elements. He wraps his arms of bricks and mortar around us and keeps us safe. He's always been a good friend to us, and we would never leave him." Another one is money is the only friend I can count on, and not like you actually counting money. So in the example, they said our house is an old friend of ours. So they're comparing that house to a friend of theirs. A house is not a living thing, but they give that house human-like qualities. The house was able to protect them. It was something that they could count on, something that they're reliable, that they could rely on, and they just compared that house to an old friend that would be loyal, that would keep them safe, that would protect them, that they know for a long time. So basically, personification is whenever we give an inanimate or like object that cannot have human qualities. If we give that object human qualities, then that is personification. So guys, similes, like or as, metaphors, direct comparison, and personification given inanimate objects human-like qualities. So what I'll do, I'll probably do a handout or something. We'll put this on Edmodo. So anyhow, guys, have an awesome week. If you all have any questions, remember, what's up? Edmodo. Zoom classes on weekends. You guys could get to us via any means. You guys could message us. You guys could call us. Your parents could call us. Anything like that, right? Anyhow, guys, be safe and study hard.